level of massive poverty, where 63% of your population is poor. You're going to
Welcome once again to Niger Matters TV. What you are about to watch is Peter Obi at the Chatham House, where he read out his 7-point plan for Nigeria if and when he's elected. Please watch with open mind and tell us what you think at the comment section. And please give us a thumbs up. It helps our videos to be recommended to others. It is YouTube's policy. Please help us to fulfill that at all times. Bye and stay blessed.
create all sorts of problems. I was speaking to a British minister this morning. I said we have about 40% unemployment. And we have about 60% youth unemployment. Young people in their productive age doing nothing. If you have 15% unemployment in Britain today, you're going to have massive, remember, agitation. Nobody will be able to leave his house. So what you're seeing is a cumulative effect of leadership failure over the years, which will be solved by good governance. When people start seeing justice, fairness, and inclusive government and doing the right thing, all those things will start reversing itself. And that is what me and that is offering. I will talk and discuss with all agitators. There's nothing wrong in that. People agitate even in my house, and I talk with them.
So you hear that what he just said now about agitation and all sorts of things, because the person that asked that question was like, you know, putting it directly to him, like it was an Igbo thing, or it's like a Southeast thing. So because it's an Igbo, therefore, you're supposed to say something, you know. So whatever thing he says, actually, it doesn't really matter. What they just want is that anytime they get the opportunity to ask him such a question, then they will always throw that same question at him. So, but what I don't like about these direct questions sometimes is that when the other candidates are campaigning, are they being asked about how they are tackling Boko Haram or how they are going to tackle Boko Haram and
We're
overcome
going
all
to
this?
turn around the power sector. Nigeria generates about, today, 56,000 megawatts of electricity for 200 million people. And South Africa, the second biggest in terms of economy in the continent, 5 to 6,000, that's 5 to 6,000, sorry. And South Africa, the second biggest economy, 60 million people, generates about 40 to 50,000. And South Africa, in the past 3 months, has declared emergency in power and said anybody can generate up to 100 megawatts without license. So somebody who is 60 million, generating about over 40,000, declared emergency. What do you think somebody with 2 million people generating 5 to 6,000 will do? War. I'm going to declare war on power, and I'll solve it.
So, my people, you hear that again? So, that is the power issue. These are the key, components that makes, a buoyant, or a robust economy. So, power. Without power, then every other thing is absolutely, put on, on reverse. So, I hope that these things sink in the minds of the youth who are actually yearning for a real change, not just those bogus change or blackmail in the past. So we've experienced it for the past 8 years, so we know what it was about. So, but this time around, if we have to choose, let's choose rightly, so that all this whole thing will be put behind us. Then we can move on with our lives. So that's the way it is. So once again, let's watch and move on. Okay.
Society where people's talent, hard work will match up the opportunity. You start seeing those things go down. There's tension, even in the Western world here. I live here when the blacks feel excluded. But as the more the government opens up and tolerates and builds an inclusive, transparent, more broad-based acceptability, they will come down. And we will show, I've said before, we will show compassion. We will show love. Because there's nothing, you're a leader. Don't go away when Bayelsa is under the water. Don't leave Jigawa to die. Don't say, oh, I cannot go to Southern Kaduna because there's a problem. We will show compassion. We will lead from the front. We're not going to walk away. And for me, Borno is part of Nigeria. I don't want to say people, oh, the region is insecure. Nigeria is insecure. Like I told the IDP people in Christmas, I spent my IDP with IDP people in Makode in Christmas. And in New Year was another IDP camp in Abuja. And I said to them, as long as Nigerians are in IDP, all of us are in IDP. I will not allow, and I know that you will not allow it, for any Nigerian to remain in IDP while we're sleeping in our mansions. Never. They must go back. On issue of challenges and dealing with them, the challenges you foresee, I've dealt with such challenges at the Anambra level. And I'll show you the same challenges. We're not going to, as long as you're not involved in this transactional governance, you can deal with anybody. And we're not going to compromise. We have an issue, I said, we are at an existential threat that we don't need to. There's nobody, there's no sacred cow. You either be a Nigerian or you can find another country. We have a country with the rule of law. It will be the same level playing field for everybody. I want to solve the problem. For example, I said it without equivocation. I must pull out the poverty that is devastating the north. The vast land in the north is far more in terms of assets and source of revenue generation and exports for Nigeria than the oil. It's very simple. And I give you an example of one state that I use every day. Niger State is 76,000 square kilometers. Precisely 76.3 thousand square kilometers of land. 7 local governments in that state is under control of bandits. I've tried to interview them because they have no job. They have nothing and everything. Niger State is 2.5 times the size of Netherlands. And Netherlands agricultural export last year was $120 billion. Why can't Niger State do 5% of that? They have arable land. And all they get from the revenue, from the sharing, which is the consumption, is less than 50 billion naira. When they have minus their debts and everything. If they earn 6% or 5% of that, is $6 billion. At 650, it's about 4 trillion. 80 times what they get from here. We will change it. Somebody talked about tackling insecurity. I've said it extensively. It is our first commitment to first secure Nigeria. Securing Nigeria is not impossible. I secured Anambra State as goal. And it won't be different. I said we will deal and talk with those we will win, we will talk with those who are winnable. It will be carrot and stick. And those who don't, we will deal with them. We're not going to shy away. Nigeria must be secured. It's a country. Every country must be secured. But we're not going to walk away from the problem. We'll deal with it. We have our armies and military used to secure Africa. So this is time to go back and resonate that spirit in which they used to secure Africa to secure Nigeria. And we will deal with it. On climate change, I've always said we'll follow the protocol. And I did mention here about issue of things like planting trees, issues of dredging. These are some of the climate change issues because as you see today, we have a situation where flooding in Nigeria because we've not dredged River Niger, River Benue, and everything. And I said it consistently. This is not difficult. We've awarded contracts for it in the past. Today, every Egyptian will tell you, no Nile, no Egypt. Benue to do. River Niger and River Benue combined is, River Niger is 4,200 kilometers long. River Nile is 1,400. River Benue is 1,400 long. So two of them are 5,600. Nile is 6,650. If Egypt, an African country, can dredge, maintain River Nile, Nigeria is big enough to deal with this, and we'll deal with it. And I assure you, you'll see the difference. You'll be clear. Other protocols of climate change will follow it. Where we find difficult, we'll negotiate and talk with other involved in that. We are signatory to it, and it's devastating the world today. So we must follow the protocol.
Thank you. The clock is ticking. We're on borrowed time now, but we are going over, as I said. So there's right at the front here, there's a gentleman there. I'm going to take 3 questions, and then I think the clock is going to have had its say. Short and sharp, please.
I'll
go
keep
ahead.
it short. Hi, good afternoon. My name's Alexis Akwajiram. I'm the managing editor of Semaphore Africa. My question is, if you become the next president, would you seek to keep the current central bank governor or replace him? And please explain your answer.
So, the gentleman in the middle there. Please. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, and thank you for your remarks. My name is Chibuikem Ugongadi. I'm his master's student at King's College London, and it's funny, actually, my question is related to him. Given the debacle at the central bank currently and their conduct over the past 8 years, what is your view on central bank independence as a tool to improve economic growth? And how will you what will you do about the leadership at the central bank when you become president in order to make sure that their principles are in line with yours on monetary policy?
Thank you very much. The lady over there. Yes, madam, you. Yes, but sharp, please. There's a microphone just here. It's next to you. Just there, please. Aha.
Okay, Your Excellency, good afternoon. So my question here is this. You talked about restructuring. As you're aware, Nigeria can barely service its external debt. Nigeria can barely service its external debt. Our current external debt, we cannot service it, or we're finding it difficult to service it. Now, when you become president, how do you intend to restructure our external debt without actually downgrading our rating in the market? Thank you.
Thank you. And your name, just so
My
we have
name
it?
is Ifeanyi Umunakwe.
Okay, thank you. And then if we move the microphone to the lady just there, last question. Yes.
Good afternoon. Nice to see you again, Mr. Obi. My name is Kenneth Chukwuwabo. I'm a PhD candidate at the University of Cambridge. I study public-private partnerships in education. I read your manifesto, and it seems PPPs are taking a central stage in education sector. So I wanted to ask, what is your rationale for involving private actors in public education, and what governance structures would you put in place to ensure the accountability of these actors in a sensitive sector such as education? Thank you.
Thank you very much. My apologies. We've run out of time now. I'm watching the clock.
I lose my email list, my following, my influence, my team, my brand.
Okay. Alex, I hope you will allow me. There's somebody here that is so keen. When I was coming in, he had a question that is so interested and is like So I told him, if I have opportunity, I will request and answer it publicly. Let me again go. People are talking about the central bank governor. The problem, first, let me assure you, central bank will maintain its independence. It will be respected. And again, it is not the problem of the person there. Central bank have a role of monetary policy, if I'm right. Then you have this physical space. It's like a street football. When the person who is supposed to be in the physical space is no longer, it's like you go to a football match and somebody who is supposed to play in a particular wing is no longer there. You find people playing various wings. The weakness of the physical space allows the monetary space to take over, and in supporting, because there's a weak governance structure, that is why we're able to do what we're doing. What is happening today is happening. So if you replacing Godwin and putting somebody with that level of fiscal rascality, which is what is fueling our inflation and even our rate of exchange today, these are some of the things you need to cut. As long as the government continues on that fiscal rascality, that situation will occur. That's what you need to fix. I won't say what will happen. His term is actually coming to an end, so it won't be too long. So that's that. I assure you that we'll deal with that. You asked about PPP in education. I said you're in Cambridge. Is Cambridge run by British government? Now I just want to know, because I don't know. When we're talking about PPP in education, we're talking about tertiary education. We're not talking about basic education. We will ensure that basic education is free, and we will drive it aggressive, because we have 20 million out of school children in the north, which I've said we will deal with decisively, because those children mostly have learned Quran, which means they're intelligent. We'll meet them at the point of learning Quran and teach them skill. For the tertiary education, we must find a way to fund it in a collaborative way, public partnership, in order to be able to ensure that 4 years will be 4 years, not what is happening today. That's what we mean by that. And it will be, you'll see, it's a win-win situation. That's it. No, not the basic. It won't be the basic. Then, issue of barely servicing our debts. I've said it before, we're not the only country that have gone through this. Once we move from consumption to production, what we're going to do first is that what you see today, we're inability to service our debts, is because of fiscal rascality. You're paying unsustainable subsidy, which will be stopped from day one, because it's a criminal thing. You're no longer generating money because they're stealing oil. And the only people who can steal oil are people in government, because ordinary people cannot steal oil. You can't put it in your pocket. It's something that you come with sheep. So all those, and you stop corruption, the waste, everything. And you go to seek to ensure that the revenues of government are properly collected. These are things, when you have tightened all the leakages and waste, you'll be able to increase your position, and you negotiate and be able to service them. Look at it, just to give you an example. Nigeria is today the only OPEC nation, apart from Venezuela, because of sanction, that is not meeting up its quota. Because over the years of oil theft, the multinationals and everything have not been investing, coupled with the theft and everything. You're not realizing what you're supposed to. Every other nation.
So, my brothers and sisters, I think you enjoyed this whole thing so far. So we are wrapping it up now, and I'm just about to remind you once again that you should get your PVC ready. And for those of us who are in the diaspora, please take your phone. There's no excuse because you now have WhatsApp. You can call home and tell those who don't have any idea of what the problems are or whatever thing or which direction that they have to, cast their vote in or for whichever candidate that you think that they have to cast their vote for. So as it stands today, I will say my vote goes to this man, Peter Obi. So if your vote will go to Peter Obi, please take your phone and call home and tell them what to do, or at least advise them on how it is. So that it will be clear, the clarity will be there, in their mind and everything else. So thank you very much, and I hope to see you soon. So please watch this video till the end, and please, once again, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Bye, and stay blessed.
Nation that is in the same condition was able to bring down their rates and inflation within this period of Ukraine war. I'm not saying it's good to wait for war to be able to get more revenue, but people are taking advantage of it, because it's there. And you can't run away from it. But we couldn't take that advantage. Our situation got worse because of poor management of our own physical space, which will change without an eye. And finally, like I said, somebody kept telling me that issue that people have been saying that if I become president, that there's issue of being, how do I say, what word do they use? Stingy. Pat knew the question of stingy. How are you going to manage? Because they said you'll be stingy and everything. And let me say it publicly that people don't know what it is all about. At the heart of poverty is capital formation. And you can't go about capital formation without savings. Even in the most developed world, which is why I said that Japan holds highest amount of US treasury. If you listen or you go and read about what Professor Ragnar Musk done in the 50s, he showed it clearly. Capital formation is the heart of poverty. Without capital formation, you have low productivity, low income, and you produce poverty all over the place. What I was doing as governor, I was the best governor in Millennium Development Goals by the UNDP. You can go and check that. Is that? I won a prize for the best road network. I won the Gay Prize back to back on health. You can go and see what I did in health. Build scratch, teaching hospitals and everything. Improved #1 in education. And above all, I was able to save because I believe in future generation. If you look at that saving, I said future generation funding because we want to have proper capital formation to drive tomorrow. If I have opportunity in Nigeria, no matter what we do the same thing. We must save for tomorrow. Because that's how you form capital to turn around tomorrow. So as an end, I appeal to all of you. There's nothing more powerful than an idea whose time has come. The time today is to have competent leadership with character, commitment and compassion. And that's what Nigeria is yearning for. That's what I Dati and I are offering you. Let's have opportunity to build a better Nigeria. Thank you.